I do think that depending on what product you have, Walmart, Chewy, Target, to me, the big ones are eBay, Walmart, TikTok Shop, and Amazon. Those are the big four. And then there's the auxiliary ones that are like more specified, like Michaels.com and Nordstrom and, Home Depot. These are all brands that you can list your products on without even being in store. You can be listed on HomeDepot.com, for example.
Welcome, fellow entrepreneurs, to the Amazon Sellers School podcast, where we talk about Amazon and how you can use it to build an e-commerce empire, a side hustle, and anything in between. And now, your host, Todd Welch.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Amazon Seller School. I've got Andrew Morgans on today. Andrew is the founder and CEO of Marknology, which is a full-service Amazon and marketplace agency. He also owns and co-owns several D2C brands, including Waggedly, Landlocked, Axel, Parch, Felt Like Sharing, and more. Also invests in several different brands. And Andrew is also a real estate investor and is launching ecompulse.ai, a new SaaS tool for omnichannel sellers. In addition, he operates a 3PL warehouse in Kansas City. And since founding Marknology, he's worked with over 300 brands, achieving $2 billion in combined sales, which very impressive, Andrew. Andrew also hosts the Startup Hustle podcast, which ranks in the top 20 entrepreneur podcasts. With 15 plus years in e-commerce, he's passionate about building brands and driving innovation in the space. So welcome to the show, Andrew. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for having me. It's always strange to hear it read back sometimes. Little imposter syndrome. Is that me? I'm not sure, but been doing this a long time and still super passionate about e-com. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you've got a really impressive background for sure. So I really definitely expect you're going to know what you're talking about when it comes to the omni-channel, which is what we're going to focus on today. So taking Amazon sellers and launching on, say, TikTok Shop or Walmart, eBay, Chewy, Target, lots of different platforms like that. So I think that's going to be really intriguing to a lot of people. But before we dive into that, let's talk a little bit about your background. I guess let's start with, where did you grow up and get going?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it quick. I feel like I've lived a few lives. I actually was born in Montreal, Quebec. And then from a very young age, moved to West Africa and grew up in Africa till I was 16. So I think in some ways that's really shaped me into the entrepreneur and the way I just think, kind of just being outside the box in a lot of ways. Was in Congo, went from West Africa to Kinshasa, Congo for most of my teenage years, which is a crazy place. And there's not a lot to do. So you're left in your imagination. I'll put it that way. You use your imagination a lot. Moved back to the US, started chasing music, had been playing music since I was a kid and was like, this is how I get out of Kansas City. This is how I can travel. That was my first probably attempt at building a brand. And did that for 4 or 5 years full time. Like I really was all in on music. But I got to a point where I was tired of being broke and I had been going to school for computer science along the way and graduated with a degree in just computer science, general computer science, networking and security. And got a job at MasterCard Global Networking. A year in, I felt like I was crushing it at work. Got a raise in kind of a permanent position, but I just hated the work. And so I was like, if this is what my degree can do for me, like I'm not going to make it. Like I just don't enjoy waiting on stuff to break. And I took a chance at a startup. It was a website selling car parts online in Florida. I actually moved from Kansas City to Florida for the job. And never looked back. I just fell in love with e-commerce. Like right from that startup, I was like employee number 3, putting trailer hitches, ball mounts, trailer wirings, harnesses and stuff into combo kits and putting them on eBay, listing, like contacting manufacturers and taking huge part lists and concatenating descriptions in Excel and putting those on Amazon. And that was probably about 15 years ago, was my first interaction with e-commerce and Amazon. And I really haven't looked back. I went from that startup to became an e-commerce manager for a couple of years at a medium-sized retailer. And that really, here back in Kansas City, and that really was like the foundation for what is now Marknology. Just being inside a company of like 300 people, 8 retail stores, maybe like, 15 million or so if you're looking at top line. And they were just struggling at e-commerce. They had been a catalog toy company. And I was hired as this e-commerce manager. I sat in between the technology team and the marketing team, and I just went through all the struggles with them to make their company more modern. From images that weren't made for catalog to real product descriptions to attribution to affiliate marketing. At the time, even I was as an e-commerce manager, I was sitting in the middle of all of that. But marketplaces and Amazon was really our a shining light at the time, and we grew sales by a couple million across several brands that they owned. And I did that for 2.5 years. Got small raises that just weren't going to get me to where I wanted to be, and so I started looking outside of that, and that's really where Marknology came to be. I started freelancing on the side. I think I was very early, maybe one of the very first doing services or Amazon as a business, Amazon as a service for other brands. And that's when I 11 years ago this year, 11 years ago, I founded Marknology and left that company. And Marknology is a reflection of that. I think the first few years were very much like a consultant, really didn't even know what I was doing, just trying to help people on the side do Amazon, trying to figure that out. But maybe the last 6 years or so have felt like a real agency with a real team and really building something. So let me pause there. Like that's kind of as fast as I can go through origin story a little bit, but I just kind of found e-commerce and just loved that it was, your creativity is really like, that's what limits you or not in e-commerce. And it wasn't really a boys club or a girls club. It was, if you're the best, you can win and you can stand out and you can sell, and you don't have to have these inroads to Walmart rep or someone in retail to get you in. And you have to have, like, it's who in e-commerce. It really was what and I think, at least for the time at the beginning, and I'm from humble beginnings, and for me that was like, this is an area that I think I can do something in, and just fell in love with it.
Awesome. Yeah, that I'm curious. The move from Quebec to West Africa, it was. That's probably not a move that very many people make. So I'm curious how that came about.
Well, obviously wasn't my choice. My parents were in Quebec for 7 years learning French. They went to seminary. Both of them went to seminary and met in seminary, got married, and moved to Quebec. And me and my sister were born there. And they were studying French. Their passion, their heart was always driven toward French Africa. They wanted to travel and see the world and give back. And so they taught at French schools teaching English, if that makes sense. Very sponsored with Christian curriculum or whatever, like private schools. And so Cameroon has a part of the country is French. They have an English side and a French side. It's same thing as Congo. Congo is a French country as well, as conquered by the Belgians a long time ago. So that's their business language. That's kind of the thinking behind why we went there. And my dad he's kind of like the Christian Indiana Jones, at least like when he was taking us across the world. And not looking for treasure, but maybe he sees people as treasure and souls and things like that, if you believe in that. And he took us to crazy places in the world that no one else was going. There were no missionaries in Congo at the time. It was a country in civil war. We were really there on our own. We landed on our own. No one there to greet us. No one there to help us carve out our life there. So those are some of the things I think that I didn't see as value from my dad and my upbringing. But later in life, as I took this entrepreneurial journey and really saw how many times he went somewhere and created something out of nothing and build a community out of nothing, those types of things that are all very translatable skills into business.
Yeah, and that takes a lot of guts because not only is that hard, but it also could be potentially be dangerous.
Very dangerous.
My church here in Tampa has a missionary who took his entire family over to Egypt, and they're working with people and educating them on the Christian faith and stuff like that. And going to countries like that, it's not always that welcoming to do that. So,
Very much. I mean, so just for a little history lesson, like, Cameroon was a safe country at the time. Like, I played like I was a jungle boy, like truly a jungle boy, growing up, like, just running through the jungle. We called it the bush at the time. Stone cement hut we lived in, like truly. Kinshasa was a city of 12 million. It used to be one of the wealthiest cities in the world, under certain dictators that they had there. Just so much wealth in the country of Congo. And for people that don't know, the country of Congo is the size of half the U.S. The maps that we look at, the modern maps, just shrink it. They shrink it because they're made by white guys, back in the day, and they didn't want it to seem, so much bigger. But Kinshasa, Congo, is actually like the size of half the U.S. if you were to compare it. So it's just a massive country, second biggest river, longest river in the world next to the Amazon. Everything, every phone, all the like items that come from your phones are mined in Congo, of diamonds and all of that. But there's cobalt and uranium and just a very, very rich mineral country. Because of that, it's also a rainforest. It's in the middle of the country or the continent of Africa, and it's surrounded by other countries. As those countries have had wars, those losing armies run into the jungles of Congo and hide out in there and fight back into their countries, their civil war. So, there was the genocide in Rwanda. Really, it was like, I think 4 years before we went, 3 years before we went. So we went right after that, and those losing armies were in Congo. I'm saying all that to say it was a crazy place, like another planet. I think 90 something percent unemployment in a city of 12 million. Um, Very dangerous. Had friends get shot, had, you know, abductions and all that type of stuff happening. And so learned courage and fear all in the same, all at the same time.
for sure. Yeah, that's a heck of a journey. And I did just actually measure it on Google Maps. The Republic of Congo is about 1,300 miles across, and the United States is about 2,700. So, yeah.
Fact check me, but I was pretty close, right? Like,
Yeah, about half. I mean, I'm not measuring like perfectly across necessarily, but it's a lot bigger than I would think it was.
yeah, the modern maps, like if you've ever seen a real map, like I guess like I've seen them kind of laid out, and the continent of Africa is like the size of North and South America combined, and it's just like for purposes of the map, they shrink everything up, right? But just a massive country.
For sure. Okay, very good. So, yeah, lots of cool travels, and you worked your way back to the states. Started in eBay, which I think a lot of people, at least OGs in e-commerce, started somehow on eBay. I did as well. So that's cool.
It was a process of, selling something to your neighborhood, or selling something to the kids at school, making burning CDs. But this was just online, and that was like eBay was like the first version of I'm doing that, but with people I don't know necessarily, And my dad worked at PayPal. It was like in between Africa trips. He took a job in Omaha. We lived in Kansas City, and he would commute to Omaha and worked at PayPal. And PayPal was like just a thing. It just became a thing. And some of that exposure from my dad, I think, was like important for me as a kid, getting exposed to like online selling and e-commerce and like, safe transactions. And then my dad works at PayPal. Okay. It's like the Tesla of our time, right? It was the Elon Musk company too, I think. So PayPal was what made eBay a thing, was this ability to process payments securely that someone would back up, and really was the precursor for all marketplace selling, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I remember the days when eBay first came out. It was a lot of fun doing those auctions, and you really felt like you were winning something, like you're almost winning a prize when you won those auctions. And it wasn't nearly as competitive like it is today. Now you got automated softwares for sniping and all that nonsense, and why it exists, but it just kind of ruins the experience, unfortunately, a little bit.
Yeah, I miss it. I miss like I remember just trying to buy video games or little things like that and just clicking like add 10 more cents, add 50 more cents, like, trying to get those auctions, whatever they were, comics or um, there was a gamification to it that was um, fun and really like to bring it full circle. There's like, I really approach like marketplace selling in general, like as a game kind of, there's a gamification to it, level up your characters, level up, you can constantly optimize if you want to. And that was the fun part. And eBay really was where I had my first success of like um, combining bundles and like kits together in a way that created a new product. And I was doing like paint way back then, where I was making borders around the images and just doing that kind of stuff that we do today, much more sophisticated. But, those were the things that like you have a whole page full of listings. Well, if you have a blue border around your images, like it stands out, and so eBay allowed some creativity like that.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They still do quite a lot more than Amazon for sure. Their guidelines for what you have to make your listing look like is much looser than what Amazon's is.
I think similar to Etsy too, like Etsy too, but both of those I think of as like eBay is like so your dad can sell his stuff in the garage, like generally speaking, like right, and then Etsy is like for maybe your mom that's into arts and crafts or makers, and I'm not saying it has to be male or female, but it's like this makers, and then like dad selling like collectible cards or his old BB guns or like stuff like that, right? Or like car parts. And then, but Amazon, I think, was the first marketplace that was designed for the customer, not for the seller. And so instead of making it easy to post all your stuff in the garage, because you're just taking, we didn't all have camera phones back then. You had to like legitimately borrow a digital camera from someone that was pretty costly at the time, and at least when my dad was doing it, and take pictures and then move them over to your computer. You had to have all this stuff, and now you can run it right from your phone, right? People under appreciate how we've all turned into photographers when it used to be a very select number of people that had cameras.
Yeah, I feel like I remember taking photos, going and getting the photos developed, and then slapping them on a flatbed scanner, scanning them into the computer to use them on eBay listings. That's how much work we used to have to do to make a product listings.
And we thought it was easy because it was easier than having a garage sale. It really, it was like, it was different in that regard. But I think Amazon, and I really see Amazon as the one that had all these rules, and that's why Marknology became a company, was like trying to navigate all these rules. But it created a standard, and it was a better customer experience, and it was like it forged the way for the rest of the web to get in line of creating some 2-day shipping. And now Amazon doesn't stick to 2-day shipping anymore, but they used to. And it used to be if it was more than 2 days, they refunded you at times. It was like easy. I think I'm waiting on a TV I bought on Black Friday, and it's been like, what, 2.5 weeks now or something. So it's not like it used to be, but it was this like standard of trust with the review. Like eBay started the reviews, but Amazon jumped on top of that with the reviews being a huge part of selling online, the transactional stuff, the shipping speed. It was all about customer experience, and they didn't care about the brands. They didn't care about the sellers, I think, for years on Amazon. And then, the last few years, they've made big strides in partnership programs and agency programs and trying to care about the brands. But for the longest time, Amazon was customer centric only.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why they've been so successful, because they kind of pioneered that. And the other big thing I think between eBay, Etsy versus Amazon is that you could have the same listing on eBay like 1,000 times, where Amazon technically it's only supposed to be listed once, and then the sellers are on that one listing instead of every seller having their own listing. And that made it easier for customers as well.
Way better customer experience. Way better customer experience. Now, then the buy box became the holy grail, right? Of understanding the buy box and how to change price and do whatever. But those eBay listers, that was my first experience with horrible ecom software. If you remember, like, I probably spent 10,000 hours on eBay listers. I don't know. It just felt like a lifetime, trying to get them to work, and the descriptions to have some HTML and look sharp and have some photos in them. And, that was also the first time where I learned about item specifics. For anyone that's sold on eBay that's listening to the show, item specifics were like an area in the description that you could put in keywords in there, kind of like the back end of Amazon or whatever. You could put keywords in there that then your product would show up for. Like if someone searched a part number or whatever, and you started keyword stuffing a little bit the item specifics to rank better. And they also had like bonuses for off eBay traffic coming to eBay, and they gave commissions on those, which was something that as I moved into Amazon, I started even way before they came out with brand referral, refunds and different things like that for driving off Amazon traffic. I knew that there was juice that the algorithm gave you because eBay was doing that a long time ago. eBay just had some of these things that I think really did pave the way even for Amazon, even though we don't think about it, like very much so.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, they were the first big e-commerce platform, eBay, for sure. And then eBay or Amazon came and stole their lunch. And
because no one trusted the internet. Like, I mean, if I can even order off a website today and they might take a month to get it to me, there's no recourse other than canceling the transaction with my bank or something like that. Who cares? If you leave a bad review, they'll remove it. If it's a website, right? But eBay had this review system and PayPal disputes and like a way of protecting you that like let the brave people try to buy online and see stuff show up. And then Amazon just took that a step further, I think, with the trust, the shipping time, and the reviews, and the no question to ask refunds if anything goes bad. They were like willing to comp it for you or get it. And that's what got people, I feel like, a much greater scale buying online.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and I think that it's eBay and Etsy have been going about it the wrong way in that they keep trying to be more like Amazon instead of honing in on the niches that they can really win in. Like, Etsy should be the local farmers market. No mass produced stuff, nothing. Ban all that stuff. Anything that's made in a factory, get rid of it. Keep that niche. And then eBay should be, used parts, and really get good at that, and trading cards and stuff like that. That's where they still thrive. But they always keep trying to become Amazon, it seems, especially Etsy lately.
I agree. I think there's been a little shift recently, like which we're going to be talking omni-channel. But I think eBay can still do well in automobile parts. I think they lead the marketplaces in automobile parts, new, used, old, and other. Right? Like I just really think they do. I think they've always had that partnership with that. The car matcher, right? Like I'm trying to think of what that term is. There's like actually a term for it, but the fitment, alignment, and then but also vintage stuff, games, like you said, trading cards, like you can do well there. So we have a couple brands that are in those categories that like they do well on eBay, and we also were putting brands on eBay in the past simply to protect their brand and their images, because we saw people buying product on Amazon and marking it way up on eBay, or drop shippers and things like that. So if you want to protect your photos, your brand presence, sometimes you're on eBay just to protect the brand. Etsy and eBay has released advertising recently. We're actually an eBay partner agency. Etsy, I think exactly like when I go to get a gift, like it's Christmas time, buying gifts for people, I buy a lot on Etsy. Like I really do. It's longer ship times and all of that. But if I'm looking for something unique, like I play a lot of board games. So I buy some like, like gifts, like maybe 3D printed stuff, or like, what's aftermarket type of game pieces and things like that. Like Etsy's the place to go. If I'm looking for a Halloween costume, Etsy's the place to go. Like just has like really unique stuff. I think exactly what you called out is what they just need to double down on and just stay in their lane. Amazon has tried to do Amazon handmade and Amazon custom and Amazon refurbished and Amazon all these things, but I have yet to work with a brand that's like primary thing is handmade or custom, and they're just like, you know, crushing it. It's usually like a hybrid of like they have some custom and then regular traditional Amazon that's doing well. But yeah, like I think that this is a time that the marketplaces, the omni-channel of all of the different marketplaces deserve e-commerce brands attention right now, because I think that some of them are really starting to find their niche. And as more customers, even from the pandemic, pushed into having to buy online, those loyal customers that would always go into their retail chains, I think everyone got a little bit more comfortable buying online. And so those loyal customers are now even buying from their favorite retailers online.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is a big thing in the top of mind of a lot of Amazon sellers, especially right now. How can I diversify away from Amazon because of all the increased fees lately? Just yesterday, they announced that they're going to start reimbursing product that they lost at COGS, and they're going to guess those COGS if you don't upload them. And so you're going to have to upload them probably, or they're going to really give you a lowball offer, I can imagine. So I think a lot of people are getting frustrated at Amazon, a lot of sellers, I should say, that has a lot more than in the past. And so people are looking at other options. So why don't we dive into that? Like, what are the best options for sellers to start diversifying away from Amazon?
Well, for the longest time, up until a few years ago, if you would have said, if we were on Amazon.com and we were doing well, and you came to me and you said, Drew, like, what should we be thinking about next? Should I look at Walmart? Should I look at Etsy? Should I be looking at Wayfair? I'd have said no. And I'd have said, let's look at Amazon International, is what I would have said. And I still believe in Amazon International very much. Amazon Canada has been great to me through the years with brands. Amazon Australia, Amazon Japan, Amazon UK, Amazon Germany had a lot of success in all of those marketplaces. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that depending on what product you have, Walmart, Chewy, Target. To me, the big ones are eBay, Walmart, TikTok Shop, and Amazon. Those are the big four. And then there's the auxiliary ones that are like more specified, like Michaels.com and Nordstrom and, Home Depot. These are all brands that you can list your products on without even being in store. You can be listed on HomeDepot.com, for example. Right. So there's the main ones. And I think there's these auxiliary ones that if you have a very specific product, those marketplaces can do well for you. I own a pet brand. You mentioned it, named Waggity. And Chewy is more than a quarter of our business, our annual revenue. So we've been on Chewy a while, and we do really well there. It's more of like a 1P relationship with Amazon.
Well, I've got the dog food that we use. I got set up on a subscription through Chewy, so I definitely use them. But that's really cool. That's a quarter of your sales. That's impressive.
Yeah, like man, it's probably $500,000, just for context for people. Like, well, what would $500,000 your Amazon brand do to you from a different channel? It's not always about just finding the next Amazon, I don't think. And I think that for the longest time it was, if I'm doing Amazon, I want to diversify. I need to think Shopify. I need to think D2C. I need to think website. Well, let me just be frank with everybody listening. And some people know this and some people might shake their head, but I disagree. Building a funnel, a true sales funnel for a website, from your Facebook ads, your landing pages, to like enough product catalog to make people want to come to your store just for your store, and a high enough AOV because you have product selection to cross sell and upsell, and customer lifetime value, is a huge undertaking. Okay. And it is a huge hurdle for most people that have gotten started on a marketplace where a lot of that is provided and built in. right? It's your fulfillment method built in. You don't need a 3PL and warehouse. Your customer, they're already bringing customers into the store. You just have to work on converting them and ranking for your keywords and doing things like that. It's like selling in Walmart versus having your own store. That's where, if you've traditionally done well in marketplaces and you don't, if you're already doing well in D2C, that's a whole nother conversation. But if you haven't done that and you're thinking about how can I grow and diversify and expand, sticking to the marketplaces is going to be something more that you understand. It's going to be very similar on these. They all have their own nuance, don't get me wrong, but those marketplaces are going to be much more similar to what you've experienced on Amazon than going and creating a website and creating a full funnel for all of that, and customer retention and post-purchase follow-up and attribution and all of those things. Does that land a little bit with you?
Yeah, it's I've built websites and it's a lot of work just to create the website and get all your products loaded, depending on how many products you have. But then, like you said, you've got to create that funnel of driving traffic, because there's no such thing as build it and they will come. That's
Right. It's two lists. It's one, building the website however you want, which I think with AI, it's getting a little easier and a little easier to make, like, pretty templated websites than it used to be. But it's really the marketing arm of it, and understanding, do you have a product that someone's going to go get in their car, take a drive to your store just to buy your product and go home? Or is it a product that they're going to grab along with a whole bunch of other products at Walmart or at the supercenter? Right? Like, what you have to be realistic with your product and what you have. If you're selling a Peloton bike, sure, maybe they'll come into your store and buy a Peloton bike as a big purchase. You're specialized in that, all of those things. But if you're selling protein shakers or silverware or certain things like that, I just don't see people getting in their car and going to your store just to grab that. And so, okay, where would I sell well? Well, the TJ Maxxes of the world and the GNC and the vitamin shops and these other types of, stores would be a better fit than a standalone store. And I'm trying to make a metaphor for people to kind of think about their product and think about, do I have a product that's like unique enough and a wide enough selection for people to want to leave the house and, start the car and drive and handle people and humans and traffic and all that just to come to my store? Because that's what they're doing in a simpler way digitally when they're adding their card to your checkout and getting emails from you and going there just to purchase and all of that. And so that's something that I've learned over the last few years too, is really being able to almost more easily identify what products I think can have a chance at D2C and do well, and which ones just we shouldn't even spend money and invest there, and like, let's stick to marketplaces.
yeah, yeah. You got to make sure the work that you're going to have to put in is worth the return for sure. You don't want to set up, let's say you set up on Chewy, and then you get, a handful of sales per month. Might not be worth going through the whole process if your product doesn't exactly fit there to get a good amount of sales.
Yeah, one thing I've figured out with Walmart. One, we're a partner agency with Walmart in the last year, which is cool and exciting because we're getting more support and more features and more access for our brands and all that. But we've been selling on Walmart for a while now, probably since they bought Jet, somewhere around there when they acquired Jet, and that like really brought them up. But we've been pushing brands in there, and I never really realized what would make one product go well on Walmart or not, because on Amazon, I really almost believe I can sell anything. Like, I just really do almost feel like I can sell anything unless it's an invention, in which you need like a TikTok shop that would be great or something like that, right? But on Walmart, if you grew up, not even grew up, but if you like, if there's products that you would traditionally buy at a Walmart in categorically, then that product can do well at Walmart, is what I generally think. Like, so let's say lawn fertilizer. Yeah, there's a lawn and garden department in Walmart, and lots of people go there and buy lawn stuff, lawn mower, lawn bags, rakes, shovels. They have a Walmart department, right? They have fishing supplies, they have clothing, they have home and home decor, they have sporting goods, they have toys, they have sometimes food, right? So if your product fits in these categories that are normally there, I do feel like a lot of people are very comfortable with Walmart, and they have their brands that they like, or they'll even try new brands on walmart.com if it's in one of those categories. If you happen to be like in a different category, let's say high end men's suspenders at like $140 a pair or something like that, I feel like you're a little out of your lane at Walmart, because no one's going to get dress clothes at Walmart. Not really.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things Walmart I think struggles with is their image. Their image is cheap stuff. Good prices, cheap prices, and that kind of products that you get with that. Where Amazon and Target are more higher end, or not necessarily higher end, but quality stuff at decent prices, not necessarily cheap stuff. And that sometimes I wonder if it would have been better for Walmart to keep jet.com and just load all their products in there. But yeah, I think a lot of products will sell decently on Walmart. What do you see though in terms of, let's say, take a product that's selling maybe $50,000 a month on Amazon and is a fit for Walmart? What kind of sales can you anticipate on Walmart?
Well, with any channel, you need to think of it like a launch and have expectations for that. Just because you're doing 50,000 a day, I know you didn't get there overnight on Amazon, right? You didn't get there overnight. You got to think about the same thing as Walmart. And what were all the things you did on Amazon to get your sales to 50,000? Were you getting reviewers? Is it back in the day when you used to give away product? Has it been up there? Have you been building brand awareness offline on Facebook, growing Amazon, all these different things? Take that into mind whenever you're going into any of these other marketplaces, and be patient with them. Be patient with them to get them up, to get them growing. um, some of them also are seasonal, like depending on what you're selling, and so you might not have been through a season yet and wait for that, but I've even seen 50,000 on Amazon, 50,000 on Walmart. I really have. It just kind of depends on what niche you're in, what product you're in, what level of quality have you given it. Are you doing launch strategies like you did on Amazon, where you're running PPC after main keywords and doing all of the things to optimize that most brands that are having any level of success on Amazon are doing? If Walmart just came out with A+ pages, so they're continuing to like come out with new features and new ways to optimize. But you need to be doing all the same things, which is like trying to get them on subscribe and save. Remember the first time, like, if a brand launched with just FBM, and we're not talking the pandemic, or we're not talking like it's a product that goes out on a pallet or something like that, we're just talking about other competitors are in FBA and you're not, type of product, um, you're going to struggle as a new store in FBM. Straight up. Same thing with Walmart fulfillment services. Okay. Like if you go and use their Walmart fulfillment services, I have a 3PL and warehouse, so I fulfill for Walmart. We have some brands doing WFS, some not. We're okay with just kind of that FBM model on Walmart and selling what we sell. But if you really want to get the most out of a channel, I do feel like you have to go all in, just like on Amazon, and embrace every feature that they're giving you before you make judgments, of, is this channel working for me or is this channel not? Because I just think there's a lot of brands out there that say we're doing Walmart, but they don't really know what their team's doing or what they've done, or like what's the last thing they tried fixing or optimizing on there. Do they have images that are selling? Are they doing all those things? Are they doing promotions and coupons? And that's been a focus of ours, is to like, let's lean into it at a level that's like as if it's not just an auxiliary one. It's like we're leaning into to really try to optimize. If I launch 3 brands, one of them takes off. Like one of them is crushing it. You know what I'm saying? Just probably 1 out of 3 is a home run. So just more attempts as we go, and getting more insight on what works and what doesn't work there. But if you've already done all the work to be up on Amazon, to me, it makes no sense to be on Walmart, where you can use almost the same images and the same price points and the same type of copy and things like that. TikTok Shop, quite a bit different. eBay, quite a bit different. But Walmart, or if you get an invite to Target Plus or any of those things, are very similar to Amazon that it just doesn't make sense not to push your brand there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, duplicate their Amazon listing over to Walmart, and then they don't see any or very many sales, and they're like, "Yeah, Walmart doesn't work. There's no customers there." And so they kind of give up on it. And so I like what you said there, that you got to, think about what you did on Amazon to get to $50,000 in sales, and expect at least some kind of similar path on Walmart to be able to build your sales there as well.
Yeah, I have like if you look up my store, like Landlocked Kansas City on Etsy, it's like one of the only. It's one of my KC apparel brands in the early days that I put on Etsy, and it's just KC shirts and things like that. But it was one of my first experiences with creating my own brand, and I made my second tweet on Twitter, and it went viral with Arrowhead Pride, a Kansas City Chiefs blog that kind of picked it up and was like, "Look at this local guy's shirts! Like these are cool." He posted on his Facebook. They're tied into ESPN somehow, so it's like a sponsored blog. And I had 300 orders in a day, which was I was not ready. I was getting one or two a week, so I was just like, "What is happening? This is amazing." But I was all in on that Etsy store. That's my point. If someone wanted to pick up a shirt from me locally because I was kind of trying to promote it, blow it up, can you buy it from me on Etsy? Can you buy it from me on Etsy? Can you buy it there? It helps me. Can you leave a review? Same thing with Amazon. Not saying leave me a 5-star, but you do shit in person. Like everything you can do. A friend's trying to buy it from me. I don't want to give it to you. Go buy it from my store. It helps me. Leave a review. Just like your Google review if you're a service-based business or anything else. And if you put that type of energy into your Walmart or in these other channels, getting the reviews on them, getting up some outside traffic driving there from a blog or like doing those types of things, giveaways, YouTube's influencer marketing, like, and you're pushing to Walmart because all those things work on Walmart too. Then I can say that you've truly tried it and you're doing all the things you should be doing. And like, you're giving it a real shot, to be successful.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. You gotta put the work into it to expand those different marketplaces, just like you did on Amazon. It's not going to be easy.
We were talking about like Shopify and knowing if it's a good fit for you to like push a lot of marketing into your website. I do believe everyone should have a website for their brand. I just don't know if you should have you're driving traffic on Facebook and stuff for conversions there, right? But maybe it redirects to Etsy or it redirects to Amazon or it redirects to Walmart or it says all the places you're listed in retail stores, whatever that looks like. A lot of times we have a simple Shopify site that redirects to Amazon, whether it's buy with Prime or it's just like a redirect there. You can do this, switch it up for a while and switch all that traffic to Walmart, start sending traffic to Walmart if you're doing that or linking out to Walmart and run your Google ads to Walmart. They connect now and you can do those types of things. So I'm just saying you won't know until you really give it a true effort. And I know that Amazon sellers, there's a lot of Amazon sellers that they just don't really believe in it that much yet. And I think that they should. And as an agency running multiple brands, I've seen enough of them hit to be like, whoa, this is worth my attention. More so that I'm pushing it before I'm pushing Amazon Canada. I'm pushing it before I push international expansion, which I just absolutely love on Amazon. I think international expansion is just a huge way to diversify in a way that you already know. What you have to learn is the admin and the new logistics and the new, currency conversion and things like that. But as far as like the process of selling, that's omni-channel too, right? Because they're all separate channels really when you're selling internationally. But those can be huge ways of diversifying yourself as well and staying in your lane. And I say staying in your lane as a marketer, not as your brand, because every brand owner is a brand owner. Like they know pet or they know fishing or they know clothing or they know whatever, but they're also wherever they found success has to do with their marketing. Is it in retail? Is it in D2C? Is it in marketplace? And if it's in marketplace that you found most of your success, well, I encourage you to double down there and really try to stay in your lane.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, it's definitely important to have a website, especially if you have a product that people may be encouraged to look you up. And with my own experience, we've got 9-month baby girl, so we're buying tons of baby stuff, and I want to make sure the product that I'm getting, I can trust it. It's not some Chinese junk with lead paint or something like that. So if I'm shopping on Amazon, a lot of times I'm looking up the brands, finding their website, look at the About Us page, make sure they're based in the US and learn a little bit about them so that I can hopefully trust their products, that they're not going to be harmful in any way. So, in a situation like that with baby stuff, a website I think is very important, but any product, you should have some kind of basic website for your brand, About Us and things like that for sure.
Yeah. In the early days, at least, to even get the results you wanted on Amazon with brand registry or things like that, you had to have a website to really like get your brand going. And so a lot of people threw up websites that were really more for show than anything else to say, hey, Amazon, I'm legit. Here's my brick and mortar. But you'll have to check out one of our brands we're working with that I think is really cool in the baby space. American made manufacturer, has all the certifications. It's called Teether Pop. Teether Pop. Um, a great founder, Renee. But it's just like a binky, so to speak, that you can like freeze all types of stuff in.
Yes, I feel like my wife showed me something like that.
This is the original. So I think there's some knockoffs or some other stuff out there since she came out with hers, but this is one of the good ones, and we'll have to connect after the show. Just get you one, can have one. So, but that's a fun one. That's exactly what the website solves for. We have the website, it's operational, but it's really to show people like everything else about the brand, tell a story, do all those things that you can't. People forget that like selling is relationship. People buy from people, not from businesses. They buy from people. And what are all the little things you can do, just like you feel in a human relationship? There's a lot of things that good friends or a partnership or a husband and wife or parents and kids, there's lots of little things that we do to have good relationships that are way past just like hugs, so to speak. It's the way past that. And I think if you're doing all those little things in digital marketing or in brand building or community building within e-commerce, from the post follow to the quality of your packaging to all of that, those are the brands winning, when they're doing all those little things.
I sent the link to Teether Pop to my wife, and she says we already have one.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
There you go.
So we did our job well. We did our job well.
Yes, you got her with your marketing, so that's good. So TikTok Shop obviously is kind of the big one that everybody's talking about. I read that they're going to do about $50 billion in sales this year in 2024. So I guess, where do you stand on that? What are your thoughts about the potential upcoming ban and where that'll go as well?
Well, it's definitely hypothesis, right? And a little bit of gut, in my opinion, because that's all it is opinion. But we're a TikTok Shop agency partner. I've been pioneering the TikTok space before TikTok Shop came out for the last 2 years because I'm building my own brands. I worked with a couple mega TikTok stars that were pushing brands, and their companies hired my company to launch them on Amazon, like Kevin Hart, Nikita Dragon, Bobby Parrish, the healthy food guy, some other brands you probably wouldn't know as far as like influencers, but had big TikTok accounts. And that's what really just got me like, okay, I'm paying attention now. And I feel like I missed the big Facebook, like being a good operator at Facebook. I went all in on Amazon when people were going all in on meta ads and D2C, and kind of missed the train a little bit on being just like in the heyday of Facebook ads and being great at it and all of that. So when TikTok came out, I was like, I'm not missing this round two. And all I need is one good sales channel, one good funnel, one good medium to really master, to be able to do all the things I want to on the marketplaces or on D2C. And so I've leaned into TikTok. That's just my reasoning for getting involved. And as someone that does a long form podcast, I can tell you that thinking and researching and digesting content that's 10 seconds long or 15 seconds long has been like the biggest challenge of it all, is really just like going from, higher level combos like this to like bite-sized bits of info, and TikTok and how to sell that way has been the biggest challenge. But, TikTok made some big partnerships this year with both Meta and Amazon. Where right in a TikTok ad or in a TikTok post, you can buy from Amazon with one click right inside the app. You don't have to go what we call deep linking, which will pull you out of the app. And it's really hard to push TikTok to push to an Amazon listing or to buy, because once people get to the link, it makes them close the TikTok app, open their Amazon app, sign in. Like there's so much friction to purchase that it was like, this is really only for brand halo. Then TikTok Shop came out, which, okay, it was hard getting traffic to Amazon to do it. We were doing it. because I always think Amazon first personally. We were getting good results with like TikTok to a landing page to Amazon, and really boosting rankings in that way, and really locking into traffic super low CPC costs or CPMs. In comparison, they were just trying to get people on the platform. Then TikTok Shop comes, and that friction's removed. And then they're rolling out the red carpet to get brands on TikTok Shop, like subsidizing shipping costs and matching discount offers, and just doing so much stuff like that, that it was like free money in comparison to Amazon fees going up, 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 up. So it was like, diversify. Okay, let me pay attention. Um, but just knowing that they're doing 50 billion, knowing how hard they're pushing, I think it's ByteDance is the parent company, for growth. Um, and just like, the US market, the partnerships with Amazon have made me think like, maybe, what are some of the bigger companies big enough to make a purchase or a partnership like that they need? And those are the ones that come to mind. And they've kind of set themselves up for that, like Amazon, just like Walmart acquired Jet. There might be some kind of play here with Amazon. Amazon has the vertical videos. Amazon has Amazon Influence now, and these like shoppable videos. And that sounds very convenient to me. And maybe that's just Amazon trying to be smart with what's going on, or maybe that's them setting up the infrastructure to be able to have a partnership go a little more smoothly. So that's a little just fun food for thought. But I think, I personally don't think they're going away. We have several clients now. I think, before January 17th, much like some of these tax laws they passed, like the BOI reporting and different things, that up in the last minute they canceled them. I just think there's too much money at stake to not grease some palms, or like get the I think it's the Supreme Court or someone to stop this and figure it out and delay it. I'm not sure if they'll have a resolution by January 17th, maybe just a delay, right? If I know the US government at all. But I'm hoping that they stick around. I've just invested a lot of time in it. Regardless, we'll pivot. And just like there's been so many fears in the Amazon community over the years. What happens if this happens? What happens if this? I've survived all of those, right? It's like, if you've been doing this a while, there is a lot of fear around all the changes, the tax nexus that came out, and all of that crazy stuff. You just pivot and you figure it out, and that 50 billion in the US is going to go somewhere else. Maybe it goes back to Amazon. Maybe there's a new marketplace that pops up that's US based. I don't know. But I'm just, we'll handle it when it comes. I think it's going to be delayed. I'd almost bet you $100 on it, type of thing. But only time is going to tell. Was it January 17?
19th is the deadline.
January 19, I'll either be having some beers or having some beers.
Yeah, for sure. It's TikTok Shop has had an amazing meteoric rise. The TikTok in itself has just taken the world by storm. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch. Do you think TikTok is a platform for every brand, or does it particularly tailor to brands that can have kind of that viral effect?
So you set me up for that one, Todd, because I like that question. And I think that a lot of Amazon sellers specifically, this might be a hot take, but I think a lot of Amazon sellers are approaching TikTok wrong. And some of that is the mentality and personality types that are the most successful Amazon sellers. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, and this is a general statement, but you can't keyword research and product categorize, like choose your products and keyword rank, all the technical things that all the best Amazon sellers are doing, and pick your, ops is not going to get you there on TikTok. It's not just your operational proficiencies or excellence or whatever that's going to get you there. Whereas on Amazon, you can do all these things. You can take courses and learn keywords and pick a product niche and do all of your research and calculations and be like, this is a product I want to launch. And you don't really have to be a creative person or a creator to be successful on Amazon. It was pioneered by a lot of like 9-to-5ers that didn't want to be 9-to-5ers. They wanted, for Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week. They wanted to be entrepreneurs. They wanted to leave their job. And that was what pioneered the Amazon space, in my opinion. There's a new level of entrepreneurs and 9 to 5 and stay at home moms and all different types of people in the TikTok space that I want to create my, make my living with creation and like, that type of thing. But really it's like just the affiliate marketing community, has grown. And that's what's really like here. And there's a big mix of a lot of people creating that shouldn't be creating. They're not all good and it's not all equal, but it is a creator first platform. Okay, at the end of the day, like, and anyone can be creative, and anyone you can make think about Storage Wars and some of these TV shows that we watch that are like kind of boring things, or the fishing shows, the reality TV, like, well, we watch them because we're like, this is so interesting. And I think that TikTok can make boring trades or boring products or boring things, if you have a good creator, can make anything interesting. And right. And so I think if you can have an educational content, you can have entertaining type of content. There's like several categories that, like, demonstratable or whatever. But I think that like what they need to do is you need to create product. Think of it relationship again. As the brands, the sellers doing this, you need to create your TikTok and you need to be the voice of your brand for several months. Okay. Even if you're working with creators, it can't have 100 different people be the voice of Andrew Morgan's. It needs to be Andrew Morgan's doing the voice, so to speak. And until you have like a base, until you have a personality as a brand out there, then when you go to reach out to make friends, to build a community, to get influencers or affiliates to create for you, because that's what a lot of Amazon sellers are doing, is giving away free product in exchange for content or affiliates or commissions. But if you have no base, no one wants to come to your party when there's no one there, right? No one's like, they're looking at your brand. They're like, you haven't even made your own brand cool. Why am I going to think it's cool? Right. It's just like the next thing. I just want a free product, and you're going to get that type of, you attract what you put out, so to speak. And so I think what brands need to do first is they need to create, 30, 60, 90, 120 pieces of content, whether it's working with a few select creators. Is kind of how we do it. And we create like a big, pool of content out of those few, like 5 or 6 creators, and we're posting organically. Then we take the better ones that did well organically after we've kind of got a base, and we run ads on those and build the community. Then you'll start to see influencers just want to be a part of it. You'll be able to reach out and you'll get yeses instead of nos because it looks cool over there. We want to be on your side of the yard, so to speak. So I say all that to say, Amazon sellers, please just don't go the way of just outsourcing all of your content to other creators. Please have a base for yourself, or I don't think you'll be successful. So that's step one. Step two is test. It's a creator led. You can't templatize this stuff. This isn't just like an SOP type of thing that you can do. The best creators, the best ones going viral, are ones that not everyone loves. It's not, if it's super branded and super posh, you're not going to get virality. Okay, it just doesn't work that way. It's like the ones that really go viral are the ones that have some controversy, or they're super entertaining or super relatable or things like that. So that branded approach just won't work. You have to test, like in the early days of Amazon when we were pioneering and testing. But also, I think this is the side for like the products that don't do well on Amazon, meaning like invention products. So if there isn't like direct response search, like there isn't people typing in black outside grill, or whatever, like there's not that keyword search. TikTok, just like Facebook when it was more affordable, can be this way of introducing people to products that they don't know about. And I think that is like, it kind of is like treasure hunting on when the people are looking on TikTok. They're treasure hunting a little bit. They find something new they didn't know about. And those types of products can do amazing on TikTok. Other products can do well as well. But if I'm like, there's one specifically made for TikTok, I think it's these really cool products that no one's heard of that they just see and they want, and it creates that like FOMO effect. But we're killing it with laundry detergent. We're killing it with pet supplies. We took a brand this year in September. We did 5K in our first month and 275K in our second month, right? And I was making that example of, you probably didn't get to 50,000 on Amazon overnight, but in this case we did. I mean, it was like month 3 of posting, of content. And then we absolutely crushed it with this laundry detergent brand. And those are heavy liquid products, right? So it's like, wow. But I think for the right brands, doing it the right way, can be a huge opportunity. I just like to speak as directly and authentically as I can to listeners and be like, you just can't approach it in the same way that you've done Amazon, all systematically, and you're just going to crash and burn and spend a lot of money. I think doing it that way. So fingers crossed that we still have TikTok going into 2025 because I'm having a lot of fun, and it's brought out this like creative side of my team the last year or so that like we had just kind of missed getting really into the operational side of Amazon. And we're creating content and stuff, but it's not the same as like creating videos and really getting back out there with the community and creators and making stuff, and I enjoy that side of it, so I'm having a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, getting back to your your musical creative days. So
Yeah, and that's what e-commerce was when we were trailblazing it. We were just coming up with ideas of things to try and bundling and kits, and it's all trained stuff now. It comes across in courses or experts or agencies, but in the early days it was trailblazing and just trying new things and innovating and figuring out what can you make this sell online? Like, what's a way of selling this? And anytime that I'm trailblazing and I'm not managing, that's when I'm happy.
for sure. Yeah, the first thought that came to me is, how the garlic press was always the example that everybody used in Amazon. So you got like the strongest garlic press in the world, and you make a series of videos like, will it press? And you're like squeezing stuff to see what comes out of it, and something creative like that.
Yeah, I think of that blender. There was that famous guy that did like he put all these different things in a blender. It was like, and it would just like blend them up, like no matter what you put in there, and he was just trying all these different things. And the thing is I'm meeting 18, 19-year olds that are driving millions of views, some of them even for free organically without paid being added to it. And it's leveling the playing field. And I love that about e-commerce is like, if you're good at it, it doesn't matter who you are, what you know, or where your education came from, or this or that. If you're good at it, it's where the attention is, as Gary Vee says. Like, that's where the money is like, where's the attention? TV has lost it. The movie theaters have lost it. Sports have lost it. They go to different places, and it's there. It's there for the taking. And if you're a brand that's really trying to think about how to bootstrap stuff or how to get eyeballs on your stuff, like, you might want to start on TikTok and TikTok shop. Maybe wait till the middle of January before you get too excited. But that same type of work and effort can a lot of the work we're doing on TikTok, we're actually turning into vertical videos on Amazon or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts or LinkedIn Shorts. So depending on what the brand is, we're repurposing them as well. So yeah, have you bought anything from TikTok? Are you messing with TikTok at all, Todd?
I don't really use it, or I post some of my videos on there. Well, I should say my virtual assistant posts them on there for me. But I don't really use it. But you're making me want to dive into it more for sure.
For me, it's always been about the e-commerce. Like, it wasn't for me, but once I saw the value of it, then I got excited. I'm like, you did what for free? Like, you drove what kind of traffic in a world where everything costs? It was just, it was a little exciting. But thinking about how to make my content in the short form, like I said, has been the hardest part. That's just like, as you can tell, I'm a little long-winded, but how do you take this concept and like really shrink it down into bite-sized nuggets that people can relate to or share or move? That's the fun that is ecom, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is a lot of fun, and learning new things is always fun. At least for me, I guess not for everybody. But if you're not learning new things and growing, then you're dying, as the saying.
You're in the wrong field. You shouldn't be in ecom. I think if you get tired of learning and learning new things, and don't get me wrong, everybody can get tired and be like, it'd be nice to work in a factory, honestly, where I've done something for 10 years and I'm amazing at it. And I just like really know everything about my job and role. And that's just not going to be the case in e-commerce. It's not the career.
Ever changing, and what's awesome right now, 10 years from now, it'll probably be completely different.
We'll be talking about the good old days like we were eBay when we started, right?
Good old days of TikTok shop. Yeah, for sure. All right, Andrew, this has been fantastic. I think we can wrap it up there. If people want to reach out to you and connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so Andrew Morgans on LinkedIn or Instagram, just my name, Morgans with an S. So that's what makes me unique. You won't find too many of us out there. Website is marknology.com, marknology.com. So I'm on YouTube. I've got a pretty good channel there on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, website, you name it. I love chatting with anyone in the community. That's passionate about e-com and brand building and storytelling. I'd love to connect. Instagram is a little bit more of my daily life and fun and mindset and kind of just entrepreneurial thinking. And LinkedIn and YouTube is more focused on Amazon and e-com. But happy to meet anybody where you are.
All right. Very good. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show again, and you have an awesome one.
Thank you, Todd.
This has been another episode of the Amazon Seller School Podcast. Thanks for listening, fellow Amazon seller. And always remember, success is yours if you take it.